Welcome back to the Urban Suburban Garden. In this episode, we're going to go over the squash, cucumber, and beans section along with the zucchini. Got quite a bit to talk about because there's a lot of fruit developing here, so let's take a look at it. Okay, over here in the squash, cucumber, and beans section, everything here is rocking. As you can see, my beans are growing up top here, and you see my vine and I ran out of trellis for me to connect it to, but I'm sure it'll just dangle here and the beans will just grow off of it. But this worked out. I can't complain about this whatsoever. Maybe it could have been a little bigger, but for me to throw something together like this with some electrical tape and some bamboo, it worked out great. So I'm not going to complain about that, especially this is the first time I've ever grown this stuff. So, but I'm pretty impressed with it. My beans are starting to grow, and once we get back here, we'll take a better look at them. But let's start up here in the squash section here. As you can see, my squash are growing. My yellow squash. I have quite a few of them growing here. Maybe 2 of them, I think, here did not get pollinated. This one here, and I think I have another one on the other side. But everything else looks like so far it was pollinated, especially this big fatty right here on the top here. She's looking great, and there's another big one right down on the bottom here. So yes, I am going to get plenty squash from this plant. Not going to let them get overripe, so this plant can continue to produce. From what I've seen in other videos of other great growers, they say do not let your squash plant fully mature. If it gets to fully mature, it's going to die off. If you harvest them as they grow, get medium size or so, you harvest them, you'll continuously get new growth from them. So we have 3 of them in here. This one here was the oldest one, and I have one in the back and one next to it right over here, and they're starting to develop also, but they're a little further behind than this one here in the front. This is the most impressive one, and as you can see, this big flower open. This is a female plant right here, because you can see the squash developing right behind it, and it got ants growing all over it, as you can see there in the video. And hopefully they're not doing any damage. But yeah, somewhere in here I'm gonna have to eventually spray. So maybe this evening I'll come in here with a little soap, dish soap, and water, and spray those. I don't believe ants are detrimental to the plant, but I'll definitely be doing a little research right after this video to make sure they are or are not, and I'll take action after that. Let's take a look at these cucumbers over here. So I got something to show you great over here too. All right, in this episode we're going to tighten up my trellis, the support system for these cucumbers. Each one of these vines here, and one back there, and one over here on the side, pretty much. Oh, and even this one here, are growing up past the bamboo that I currently have set up. What I'm going to do is just add extensions to each one of those, so these cucumber vines can continue to grow vertically, and they can just produce the fruits, and I can easily get to them with them up in my face this high instead of me squatting all the way down here. Granted, a couple of them, like this one down here, are going to be running across the ground, but I am going to try to tie that one up maybe to this post here in this episode. But I do have a couple that's running in the inside down there across the back there that I can't get to, that I'm not going to worry about. I'll just let them do their thing, and I'll just concern myself with the ones here in the front, so we can keep our walking pathway here open, and just giving these cucumbers something to grow up on instead of just running wild all over the place. So let me get started. As you can see, and me tying this trellis up, this bamboo extensions that I'm going to be putting on here, I'm going to be using this tape here. It's pretty strong. You got these threads that run through it, so it's nothing fancy. It's DIY. Got a bunch of stuff around the house that I figured, instead of going to the Home Depot or the Lowe's and purchasing some new stuff that looks pretty, when I can just use the stuff around the house, and it's still going to be just as effective, and I can keep the money in my pocket. So yeah, I'm just going to be taking these, and I'm going to use this tape along with these Velcro strips here that I'm going to be cutting off, tying these up to this, and then using the Velcro strips to tie the cucumber plant to the bamboo for support. It's flexible. I won't be putting it on there real tight so it'll strangle the plant off. I'll keep it on there nice and snug, but give it at least enough space so the vine can continue to grow, get wider, and don't have to worry about being choked off. So let me get to work. All right, right here with the cucumbers, I seen two flowers. There's quite a few flowers open here. And we have a male flower and a female flower this close together. So I said, well, let's self-pollinate it. So from what I've seen other growers do, I just take the Q-tip, stick it down in there, the very middle. Just move it around, I guess, on whatever that middle organ is called on the male. I don't really see any pollen on it, but and I just take it in there, I just tap it in here. Right there on the female. So let me do that one more time. Make sure I got good contact. Actually, there's another male flower here, so let me even. And hopefully, she's pollinated. I'm gonna do a few more around the garden with these cucumbers because I see quite a few open today. As you can see, we have some developed cucumbers. We have this one here. It's one and behind this one. All right, as you can see that one back there in the back there. And then we have one more across the front here. Down here, let's get this one. That one. It's getting pretty big. So within the next week, we'll be taking all three of those off. Now, my understanding, this is only the second or third time I grew cucumbers over the last, I'm gonna say 20 or 30 years. And watching other videos, they say do not let these grow to maturity. Take them when they're about medium size, and the cucumber plant will continue to produce. And then once it starts dying off, kill it off and grow another one. You can grow this cucumber plant all the way to October. So we're going to see if that works out for us in this garden. I think they call it succession planting. When these here were all put in roughly about April or so in the spring, and now we're in early June. They're starting to develop in fruit. We'll see how they go as the temperatures get warmer into the summer months. If it dies off, I plan on starting more seeds in my basement of the cucumber because I love cucumbers, and keep that going throughout the growing season until the defrost comes back. Let's take a look at the string beans across the back.
Ready.
All right, with the string beans, as you can see, these are doing phenomenal. They're growing, they are attaching to one another, they're extremely long. I wish I had more trellis for them to grab onto. I'm kind of afraid to add more bamboo to this. Maybe I'll throw one or two more on the section here and then the section over here, especially with these ones growing so tall. So maybe I'll give them something to hold on to, grab onto, so they continue to grow up like that. Maybe I can get away with it. This is pretty sturdy here, so maybe I can get away with one more bamboo stake roughly about here and let it go. And I'll do that same thing over on this one here. So the one here kind of united with this one, and now they're going straight up. So I'll try to add one more stake onto here and let them run straight up. All right, as you can see, my string beans are growing well. We have from this size, this size, this size, and at the very bottom, fully mature size beans. So yeah, those look like they're close to being harvested. I have to do a little bit more research before I take them off, but I'm pretty sure I don't think they get much bigger than this here. So as you can see, these are pretty huge here. And there's a few more around the garden, and there's another one back over in here that you can possibly see. Yeah, see all those growing in there. They are bigger at the lower section than they are up here up at the top. So I guess that's just the growth pattern, and that's just the way they grow. But they are doing great. And I also, since they're growing like that on the inside of the garden, these string beans are also developing on the outside of the garden. So I have to go around there and take a look at those. There's quite a few growing around on that side too. Let's take a look at the next section. All right, in this section here, we're going to start with the flower of the zucchini plant. The flowers are open on the zucchini plant here. I have a male and a female open. So we're going to self-pollinate them using these Q-tips. So what I'll do, I'll take the Q-tip, I'll stick it down here. So I'm going to rub this against that. I see plenty pollen getting stuck to the Q-tip. Let's pull it out. You look at that. All right, as you can see, I collected quite a bit of pollen here. It's all over the Q-tip head. So we're going to take that and we're going to stick it down into this female and rub it right on the top. And I need to do some work on figuring out what's the name of this organ on the female. And we just rub that pollen all over her. And she's pollinated. I'm doing that with a few other plants around. I showed you how I did it with my corn. I'll also do this with the squash. Same process. The flowers look exactly the same. And that's how you self-pollinate them. The bees that are flying around in this area also do the same thing. So I'm just giving it a little assist, especially once I seen the two of those open. I said, oh, this is good footage. So that's how you self-pollinate. All right, that's the end of this episode. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. Also leave me a comment. And if you haven't already, subscribe and have a great day.